Hi friends, welcome back to Gardening Suburbia. Today we are getting this back bed completely pulled out. We're going to go ahead and amend it with cow manure and compost. I just went ahead and picked up the cheapest thing that was at Home Depot. It was like $2.68 a bag or something. I was really hoping that they were going to have a sale going on, but they didn't. Still very cheap, but it is just compost and manure. So I'm going to be top dressing this bed just to give some nutrients back to the soil because the tomatoes have been taking their fill. I am going to harvest all of the tomatoes that I possibly can that are green, and I will be putting those in a brown paper bag to therefore turn red so I can use them in some recipes coming up. But I need to make sure that I am also pulling out all of my little garden clips. These are not compostable, so I want to make sure that I'm getting them out of my gardening space so that they are not left in my soil. Plus I can reuse these, which is nice, for the most part. Some of them are broken. I haven't decided if I'm going to be pulling out my cattle wall panel just yet. Kind of just winging it right now. This weekend, I believe, was the first weekend that transplants for fall crop were going to be planted out. I have already planted a good number of them out from some ones that I had bought from my favorite local nursery to me is Funky's, and so those have already been planted out, and I planted out some onions as well as direct sown a few seeds of lettuces. I can still go ahead and direct sow some root veggies, so carrots, beets, radishes, those kind of things, just because it's not quite cooling off a ton. It is a lot nicer out today than it has been in the past week. It's not up in the 90s or 80s, it's more like 70s, but it is going to be cooling off very soon, and I want to make sure that I give those things enough time to get established so that when the days are shorter and we're not getting quite as much heat, they still have enough time to grow. So I need to get this bed cleared out. I think I'm going to leave my two corn. I have some two lonely corn stalks that I kind of hand pollinated. We're going to see if we get any corn from those because my corn patch over there in the corner did not do well. The deer found it very quickly. I had one single ear of corn about this big and they took down the entire thing just to get that single little ear. But we're going to get this all cleared out. I'm going to grab my pruning shears so we can make quick work of this. I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse, so be a nice little slow. And I went ahead and I spoiled myself and bought myself some new garden shears. So this is just the Frisker's floral pruner. I think these are going to be perfect for tomatoes. They're not going to be, the tomatoes are not too thick that these are going to be too much for that to handle. Ooh. You can also use it to strip stems because of these little holes. That's kind of cool. I usually just use my fingers, but let me get you set up over here so we can get this done pretty quickly because I am losing the sunlight very fast. now that the bed is completely cleared of all the tomatoes, I'm going to top dress it with about 2 to 3 inches of compost and manure. This is going to put a lot of more nutrients back into the soil. I may even grab like an all-purpose fertilizer to kind of sprinkle into the soil, just because I want to make sure that everything that gets put into this bed is going to be having enough nutrients. Plus, adding soil or adding amendments to your soil is really going to give you better results with your plants. Instead of just treating the plant, you want to treat the soil. So I want to make sure that I am putting as much good nutrients available to my plants in the soil versus on the plant. And we got a pretty darn good harvest of green tomatoes. These are all going to go into a bag. They're going to ripen pretty nicely. I have a few that are blushing. A green tomato will turn red. So excited to have a good harvest of tomatoes. I also have some dried black beans that I found, which I will do more of a harvest on those later in the season once pretty much all of them have dried out, because I'm just gonna have to do scavenger hunt if I tried doing that right now versus if I wait until the plant just completely dies back. Then I can just pull the whole plant, grab all of the bean pods, and just make it one harvest and versus like multiple harvests. I'm gonna go grab an all-purpose fertilizer. I have a organic tomato and vegetable fertilizer. This is going to be a 364. It's a little more heavy on, I think it's phosphate. So this is gonna be fine. Tomatoes are super heavy feeders, so I was adding this in periodically throughout the stage of the tomato growth. So I'm just gonna add this in about a handful or two for my 8-foot by 4-foot bed I have here. You don't want to over fertilize, because over fertilizing can actually be detrimental to your plants. So 2 small handfuls or hefty handfuls, and then I'm going to top dress with this compost and manure. All right, so we have our bed full of fresh compost, a little bit of fertilizer. I'm so tired, and the mosquitoes just are freaking vicious. It's probably one of the main reasons why I haven't been outside in my garden as much, because as soon as I get outside, the mosquitoes start biting me, and it gets to the point where you're so itchy, you just need to like go inside, shower, release all of the venom that, or whatever, itchiness, or spit, saliva, I don't know what makes you itch, but whatever makes you itch when they bite you, the only thing that cures that is a shower. So I think I'm about at that point. Tomorrow I will get my brassicas planted in this bed, and we will have a nice little brassica bed tandem right here, 2 of the brassica beds. I still have 4 bags of this compost, which is awesome because a lot of my beds need some love. We have here. Now everything in the garden is rainbows and sunshine. Looks so beautiful having this little archway with my sign. But this Brussels sprout plant has been the home to these nasty bugs. I don't know what kind of bugs these are, but they're not good bugs. I I've kind of just let this brassica plant be, he's food for those guys. Just left it. Mini micro basil plant, crispy. This yarrow, crispy. That one looks beautiful. A lot of these cut flowers have lived their life. The Rockstar Dahlia, kind of see it. He has lived his life. This one is still kind of putting off some blooms. This is the Creme de Cassis, super pretty. This one just recently started blooming. Not sure if I deadheaded it, it would probably put off more blooms. These ones are so pretty. That is the Lark's Ebb. Lark's Ebb. And then I've only had one single bloom of the Cafe au Lait. So there are tons of buds on it. So I'm hoping that it will do something for me before the season is up, because I was still am so excited about these buds. Looks like we have some weeds in this bed too. Lots of weeds. The asters are done. These Playtime calendula, we have a few little blooms on it, but it's pretty much done. The Brandywine, or Brandy, I don't remember what this one is. I can't remember what this is for the life of me. I'll pop it on the screen when I find it. The Snapdragons are coming back. They're putting off a second show. I went ahead and I pruned these back after the spring, and we've got some little buds on it now again. So I'm happy that we're getting a second wave of these, because these are so pretty. I have been cutting off the straw flowers and drying them in my house, because I want to have a couple bouquets of those, or just a few stems of those inside my house for this winter when it is not very green outside here in Ohio. Maybe you guys can help me decide. I am trying to figure out where I should plant my garlic this time around. This last season, I planted it in this wooden raised bed I built. It definitely needs a refresh of soil, compost on the top. But I was thinking maybe I could plant it in this brick bed. I want to go ahead and get a really good harvest off of all of these peppers. We still have quite a few peppers in here that are ready to be harvested. Just found another tomato. Probably one of the last of the season. But we still have a ton of peppers in here. You can see some orange ones. Those are the Tatil, super spicy. We have a ton, so many sugar rush peach peppers on there. We have another wave of our jalapeno peppers. They're doing some of the corking action, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're spicier. It's just something that's more typical of a jalapeno pepper. And we have a couple pretty good size poblano peppers in there too. And of course, an abundance of Ancho Chili Grande, or not Ancho Chili Grande, those are the poblanos. The Cayenne Long Slim and the, I'm forgetting the name of the pepper. I can't remember right now, but it's another pepper that's pretty spicy that my sister was really excited about, and I think I gave her a few starts of, or a pack of seeds of, one or the other. So we've got a pepper harvest that needs to come out. Definitely need to get those guys before it freezes or it gets too cold, because I think it will ruin the peppers. But do you think I should plant my garlic for the fall in this brick bed or in this raised wooden bed after amending it and whatnot? I'm probably gonna have to amend that. Well, I'm gonna amend all my beds, but do you think I should do the wooden bed or the brick bed? The brick bed does get a good amount of sunlight, which is why I had my peppers in it this year. This bed does get good sunlight towards the beginning of the season, But once it gets to be mid-season, these trees kind of block out some of the afternoon sun, especially these big shrubs over here. But let me know what you guys think. I am kind of flip-flopping between the both of them, because I could plant my garlic in this bed and theoretically plant a second wave of something in after I take out the garlic, but I don't know. But we're all prepped. I'm gonna close out this video here, and I think tomorrow we're gonna plant out the brassicas. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope your gardening season is going well. I know that with the harsh weather and all of the bugs, it gets a little hard to want to come out. I know, I am there. But I hope that it has been a fulfilling year of growing some food, or at least learning about it. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll go ahead and pop a video up here for you until my next upload. But until then, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.